Hey, Mike Healy here with another episode of the MLM Mastermind, and I'm obviously going to post this on my YouTube channel, probably Facebook and wherever else I can get it. And definitely go to MikeHealyTraining.com to check out all the resources I have. I've got this on a blog post and stuff where I go into detail, and a lot of times there's downloads and free stuff. I got tons of free stuff on there. But here's what today's topic is, because this is very, very important. If you're in a direct selling company, networking company, affiliate company, whatever it might be, is creating duplication in your network marketing business. That's kind of the title that I wanted to have. This is the topic I want to cover today, but it is such a deep well to dig into and go into, and an onion to peel and to go to layer after layer. But if you will follow me, I think I can encourage you, but more importantly, I think I can give you some solutions. Okay. Now, before I jump into the details, I want to give you a quick story on this. Okay. So myself going into being in networking now for about 26 years, I've seen a lot. I've done a lot. I've made all the mistakes you can think of, and I've had a lot of things that I've done correctly. The one thing that I've done is obviously I built a huge, following and relationships with lots of people, not necessarily following, but people that know me, right? And I have a lot of amazing contacts in the industry, from every range you can think of. The people that have just getting started to the people that are, six figures a monthly earners, that kind of thing. So what I wanted to tell you is this quick story. So one day I decided, just a few years ago, I was just kind of curious. Because I was putting out some videos, trainings, content and stuff. And I'm like, well, I only want to really be talking to people about the right things at the right time, about what they want to know. Right. So, that's kind of the deal. And what happened was I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to call about 50 people that I know that are in networking or have done networking. And I'm going to ask them to give me their number one, first off, what they believe is their number one issue, their number one hang up, their number one problem, that kind of thing. Okay. I wanted to identify that. And then I said, and then give me your next two or three. Okay. So conversations did last a few minutes, up to 5 to 10 minutes, depending on if I was catching up with somebody, that kind of thing. And you're probably going to based on obviously the title of this video and the title of this podcast is creating duplication. So of all the people that I talked to, the number one thing that everybody said was, how do you get people to duplicate? How do you get people to duplicate? And so knowing this, what I began to do was I try to do kind of what I guess you could say is kind of reverse engineer some of my biggest successes. Okay, what was it that made some of my, when I made 1.5 in another company and six figures in another company and a bunch of money in this one and that kind of thing. What were those things that they had in common? What systems was I using? That kind of thing. And I try to break it all down. So here's what I came up with, and here's what I want to kind of share with you. If you'll follow me on this, is I believe that the duplication is a myth. I believe duplication is a myth. It is what we all want, because if you think about it, if people actually duplicated, then the three circles you saw under the U at the top would turn into three, would turn into three, would turn into three. It'd go 3, 6, 9, 20. What is it? 3, 9, 27, 81, 243, 527, 8, something like that. Okay. You understand what I'm saying? The problem is why does that not happen? Because most of us, if we're in any company, most of them have logic to them, right? You either have a good product or service, it would make sense, somebody probably should join, and who wouldn't want to do this, right? So we all should be fairly rich within about 5 days to as much as 12 months, right? But that typically doesn't happen. So why doesn't that happen? What is it about the situation that you're in, or the company you're in, or how you're marketing, that is the holdup for that elusive golden scepter, holy grail of duplication? Okay, here's my answer, and I'm going to expand on this. In my opinion, I believe that the problem is the myth of duplication is that if you get somebody in, that they should just naturally be able to have credibility, influence, enthusiasm, etc., to go out and get their 3 right away. However, that never happens. Never happens, right? in 99% of the time. What I would suggest, and here's what I believe I have figured out and what I've implemented, is I heard something that kind of changed my entire paradigm of how I was doing my networking businesses by a guy named Michael Gerber, who wrote the book, The E-Myth. Okay. And I'm listening to his audio trainings and I'm thinking to myself, well, this guy knows what he's doing. He's helping expand businesses. And his one story he went into was the system of McDonald's. Now, if you think about it, most people that are buying franchises, they're not buying a franchise because they want or think they can make a good hamburger with a McDonald's. You and I easily could make a better burger than what McDonald's is offering. What you're in essence actually trying to purchase, and where the true value of buying into it is the franchise, is the system part of it. Everything is systematized. And that's actually a word. I looked it up because I've used it before. Okay. But it's systematized in the fact that anybody who actually just buys the system and then puts the people in the right places to execute those things in that system, in that conveyor belt, in that turnkey system, the success then happens at any McDonald's you can see. I mean, it is a very, very high improbability that one ever goes out of business, right? Because it's a system. The fastest growing franchise, I believe, right now in the world is actually Subway, because it's a system. I mean, if you've ever been in there, everybody knows exactly how it works. So let's peel the onion a little bit. And let's go into network marketing. So if you think about this, if you're in networking and you're in, what happens is the majority of people, they are excited. Now, first and foremost, excitement trumps everything, because people will drive miles around to see you burn, from miles away to see you burn. Kind of a joke, but enthusiasm, first off, will get you through a lot. I don't care what you're doing. If you're enthusiastic about it, you will get somebody's attention to do it. What I ended up, okay, how did Mike get, over my career? How did I possibly sponsor 2,100 plus people? I'm now way over 2,000. I mentioned in other videos, I'm over 2,100 personal, and I continue to do that. It wasn't because I did anything necessarily different than anybody else would. And even most people that are in my companies that I've been a part of, most of them are way more savvy at product explanations. They're more savvy at maybe, the way they explain things and so on, and they're detailed and they sound very, very good. What I understood is that the magic that was happening for me, the thing that really worked, was the fact that I learned to identify my core tasks and develop systems that allowed me to not be the expert, but again, not be the messenger, the message, not be the message, but only the messenger. Okay. So let me keep going. If you'll please follow me on this, because this will help you, is when I finally figured out that if I could just point people to tools, I could point people to systems, then here's the duplication part, and teach my people only to be very, very good at that. That is when duplication happened for me, and what happens for me in any organization, any company, any team I get involved in. Now, I'm all for personal development, and I think there's a huge importance of that. But what I've learned is that I will take ignorance on fire all day, besides knowledge on ice. Ignorance on fire always beats knowledge on ice, okay? And what I tend to see happen is people will join a networking business, they'll get very excited and so on, and then all of a sudden they think they need to learn everything. I have jokingly said this to all the people that I've ever trained, is try to stay as dumb as possible, okay? And that's a joke, but I try to say dumb as possible, because the only way duplication happens is when a person, a new prospect, as an example, when they're looking at something, and 99.9% of the time, they're asking themselves two questions. Is it worth doing, and can I do it? And they usually make the decision, which is the biggest decision, of can I do it? based on how they were introduced to it in the first place. So if you've complicated the issue, if you've made it hard for people to understand things, if you think that saying all these really detailed things and make yourself sound smarter is the way to go, and you wonder why your recruiting slows down or your duplication slows down, it's because people think they have to necessarily be an expert in their space, in their field, in that product before they can actually start getting success. Which in my case, I've learned to jokingly, I stay as dumb as possible. I'll give you a perfect example is I was the number 2 money earner in an energy company that was doing commercial. There was a networking company, not a huge one. It was a fairly small one, that their whole purpose was to do it from an MLM model, multi-level marketing, network marketing model, doing commercial energy. And I, within 12 months, got into this company, which was already 4 years old, and became the number 2 money earner. Okay. Now, how did that happen? Was that an accident? No, it wasn't. I didn't bring any groups over. I completely started from scratch and everything. What I did was I identified and then I created some simple tools that told the story quickly. I basically had 3 things. I had an intro video, which was just, hey, if you're like the majority of people out there are looking for a viable way to supplement your income without having to change careers, take on a second job, become an internet whiz, and push products on friends and family, then you've come to the right place. If you don't, if you're ever, and so that's how I opened this thing. So I wrote a little script that made a video that was basically a 2-minute sizzle video is what we call it. And what I did, this is still back in the day, which people do this, and this is still effective, is I created that type of phrase, that kind of message that I was doing. I gave a little more detail. I created a 10-minute audio that was on a recorded phone line. And all I did was I began to send that. I would send text to people to say, you really need to listen to this. I think there's a huge opportunity here. And that was it. And when people would hear that and listen to it, and every day I got a stats from the system that I used. I'm trying to think off simplevoicebox.com. That's what it was called. It was like $5 a month or $10 a month, something like that. But what happened was I began to I would send text to people to say, listen to this is amazing. And they would hear it. And because it was a phone message, it did all of the heavy lifting of piquing interest. The next thing that I created was people that were already in the company. I would have trainings, or I would get a hold of them, and I recorded short videos of them giving a quick testimony, like, hey, hi, my name's, I'll give you an example. Hi, my name's Karen. I'm a stay-at-home mom. Recently, I saved a trucking company $13,000 on their annual thing. That was a savings of, that was a savings for them of $200,000 a year, something like that, right? And I put a bunch of this. So I put a compilation of all these social proof things together in the same in another video that was about 5 minutes long, 5 or 10 minutes long as well. Then the last thing I had is the last video that I created was a video that basically gave more detail, the whole presentation, because here's how it works. And then here's the duplication. Let's get back to this. The system, and this is back to my Michael Gerber thing, because I rabbit trailed, but let me finish the Michael Gerber thing. When he was explaining McDonald's, he said some stuff that really blew my mind. And I'd listened to this during the beginning of me joining this company, this energy company. And he said, the system is the leverage by which you take ordinary people and turn them into extraordinary performers. Great businesses do not look for extraordinary people. Great businesses create extraordinary systems and give them to ordinary people. And that, when I heard that, I listened to that section on McDonald's and the story, and hearing that probably 50 times, because I began to understand that the success of McDonald's was coming, and the growth of this multi-billion dollar international juggernaut was coming from people seeing the opportunity to own a business / franchise And how can I get that and implement that in network marketing terms so that we all have a synergistic way to flow? So then by putting these 3 videos together, and I basically put a video on each website or give them a link, and they would send them, and it would be one thing at a time, one thing at a time, one thing at a time. So what I then did to get duplication, to grow an organization into the thousands that had tens of thousands of customers. Okay. Understand this. There's things to it. There's success at it. Is what I did, how I motivated my people was not about, hey, did you, go do this, go do this. Is we were able to inspire people more, and I was able to train them. I was able to train them on the system. And then by training people on the system, how I recognize people, because this is a huge thing, is recognition is a huge thing, is I recognize people on the core tasks that they were doing, which were more important than anything else. I didn't always recognize the person that came in that had credibility and influence that signed 3 people up. Because a lot of people go, oh, well, that guy as a business owner, he got involved and that's why they're in. Because that's discouraging. But anytime I saw somebody send 5 people to the first website or listen to the call, right, the sizzle message, those are the people that I did all the edification with. Those are the people that I really identified, because if you want to make huge money in networking, you have to understand the core tasks and what are your lead indicators. Whereas in your back office, when you see a rep sign up, that's your lag indicator, lead indicator. But anyhow, let me make this simple, or simplify this. So all that being said, so I learned this was probably 10, 12 years ago. I started doing it that way. The other thing that Michael Gerber said was the motivation, because also in that question I asked him about duplication, it usually coincides with, well, how do I motivate people? And back to what he had said at the same time frame, he said, motivation is a myth. He said, rather than, he says most times companies try to motivate people to produce better results, when in fact, if you create a good system that helps them get results, the motivation naturally happens. With the system thing I just told you, and that phrase right there, if you understand and dial in on those core things right there, that's how you become unstoppable in network marketing. Because you can do anything. You can do any company. I can literally join any company and be successful at it. As long as they got their act together, right? And they got something decent and it's, legal, morally, and ethical, right? But if you think about it, if you create systems that help people get and become productive, and they see the results of that path, that journey that a customer is going through, now you've got the ability to expand on that and teach only the principles of how to use the system. Are you getting this? How to use the system? Because if you can get people to use your system and it works, now we have a real turnkey platform that somebody comes in. I can take a brand new person, teach them my system, okay, the system that we're using with what I do, teach them the system, edify the system, understand that to get them to really truly understand why the system is going to work and help them get that happening. And I get them enthusiastic about doing it, and then they begin to implement the system, the outcomes always happen. Okay, let me rabbit trail for a second. I also teach a lot of times about becoming process focused and not outcome focused, because one of the things, now outcome is your goals, your dream, your idea, what you want, right? But it all comes down to, it's not outcome is not I want $1 million home. Outcome is I sponsored a new rep, a new associate came in, right? However, how do you get that new rep is the key. You backtrack and you look at having the system, the process. The system is the process. The system is the journey that you take somebody from point A to point B. Now, one of the coolest tools that I've ever seen that just came out, because I've tried different things. I've had Facebook chat bots that have worked. But Facebook changed a bunch of stuff and now it's not as effective as it was. I've done, the landing pages for my team, and I still do those, but they have different purposes now. But one thing I will tell you, there's a company out there that created, in my opinion, it's the best tool that I've used in 26 years, called Rapid Funnel. Rapid Funnel. Like, I use it with the company I'm with right now. And what's been amazing, in my opinion, to be able to do it was the fact that I understood all of these principles, and I've been working on them for the last 10 years successfully, so that when I joined this new company, and all of a sudden they said, hey, we're rolling out this thing called Rapid Funnel that they've been doing it for other network marketing companies. What do you think? And I looked at it, and I actually became an admin. They saw how quickly I picked up on all this, that they've made me an admin of it. And so what I did is I created the exact same structure. And what Rapid Funnel is it's literally an app on your phone. This is so awesome, because if you can also meet people on the mediums and the places that they're already comfortable with using and doing things, you increase your probability of success as well. So what I do is, with Rapid Funnel, you literally download the app. I give you my team code. With the team code, it then preloads all of the presentation, testimonial, and training information right in your app. Then in there, once you go into it, I have a coaching section that literally are very short, structured 4-part video series that says, this is what Rapid Funnel is. This is how you send somebody the text. This is the first video you should send them. This is how the follow-up works. And this is the results you're going to have. And then what happens is in the Rapid Funnel, so I've taught you how to do it, or if you get it with your other company or whatever, you pick it up yourself. What then happens is I then can get a new person, brand new, enroll them today, and get them on their way to success of sharing the message, sharing the business, becoming the messenger, not the message, through text, by importing their contacts directly into the app, putting send, sending the first video that gets their attention, and then the sequence that happens on the video will automate the whole process. And here's my favorite part about this, is as someone's doing that, you will get text or email notifications that allow you to see what activity someone took. They watched 100% of this video, then they click to watch the next video, and then they click the next to watch the next video. At that point, you now have enough information to know if you have a prospect that is interested. That to me is a complete game changer in the way that I've created, that I do systems and implementation, and it all comes back to creating duplication in your network marketing business. Is if you're in something that does not have a system in place that allows you to be only the messenger and not the message, you are going to struggle. Most importantly, you may have enough enthusiasm, credibility, and influence to get people in, but I promise you they're going to struggle if you don't have a system in place that allows somebody, regardless of background, regardless of training, regardless of anything besides the will, enough ambition to blow the fuzz off a peanut, to go in there and do it. Last thing, and then we're going to be done with this one, is what I do is I then, inside Rapid Funnel, what's the other nice thing about it is, remember back to leading indicators, lag indicators, is you can actually create contests inside that phone app. Like, I'm the admin, so for my team, I create a contest that gives you, like, any activity adds up as a point, and then that gives me the ability to see who on my team's working, which now also gives me the leverage I need to see that Lisa Smith is really tearing it up. She's doing a great job. I'm going to call her. She's the one I got to work with. She's the one that is going to duplicate. But if I go all the way back to the beginning, I join a company, I see what they have, I figure out the messaging, I put an easy system together, step-by-step process that I only have to be the enthusiastic messenger, that the systems and tools deliver the message. And then what I like about it is, with that system itself, it follows up. Like, obviously you can do that with lead pages and funnels and click funnels and stuff like that if you didn't want to use that Rapid Funnel. But what's created the success that I know that I've had recently was the fact that this texting app came out with Rapid Funnel, and I've been able to implement it really, really quick. And boom, 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 boom. Not only am I getting success, but my team's getting success, and so on. So I wanted to kind of overview you this with creating duplication in a network marketing business, because it's kind of the elusive thing. But if you understand what I kind of went through, the details of it, it's extremely important that you stay system focused, okay? And always edify people for using the system, because what you reward will be repeated. What you reward will be repeated. And so that's why I put so much focus on excitement about Lisa Smith sending out 10 texts this week, and why she's awesome and she's on her way to dreams and visions and things, and her dreams are going to come true, is because I want that to happen, and other people want to be edified for the same type of success or same type of action. And I want them to take that action, because I ultimately know that the system and the process that goes step by step, the outcomes always happen. So hopefully got a lot out of this one. I know I rambled a bunch of stuff on you, but if you'll study this, if you'll think about it, you maybe listen to this a few times, watch it a few times, maybe even share it with people in your team, because you got to get that mentality over this, is that most people see the circles, they want the success, we believe in the vision. Who wouldn't want to, who got two, and get the Noah's Ark thing going? However, it typically doesn't work out that way. And people that don't understand that if you have a system in place and your focus is on the system, outcomes naturally come much, much easier. And now you've got a group of excited people. Whereas the same thing is, I call it the queen bee syndrome too. A lot of people, they like to have the attention on themselves. And so if I have credibility and influence and I say, hey, anybody you talk to, make sure you just get them to come talk to me and I'll help close them for you. Well, eventually that works for the first couple weeks when I've got a small team, but shortly thereafter, as my team grows into the hundreds, potentially thousands, it is impossible to get a hold of the leader. So if you don't have a system in place that the leader can disappear and nothing is affected, you're in a bad spot as well. So creating systems that help create and tell your story much more efficiently is, in my opinion, the turnkey system and success that you will get. And that's how duplication happens, in my opinion. Okay. And there's a lot of different opinions out there. I'm just throwing out mine, but I believe that that's the way to do it. And if you can get plugged in or create a system for yourself, it'll totally change your outlook, perspective on your potential in your network marketing career. So anyhow, thanks for checking this out. Hopefully you got some good value out of it. Like it, share it, talk about it, whatever. Got questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to help you out on anything. So thank you. And I'll see you on the next videos, podcasts, websites, whatever it might be. Thanks again. And if you'll do today what others won't, you will live tomorrow like others can't. Thanks.